The Kennedy Center has everything. Look at the Academy Awards. It gets lousy ratings now. It's all woke. All they do is talk about how much they hate Trump. But nobody likes that. They don't watch anymore. That used to have 45 million people watching. I remember The Apprentice, first season. The Apprentice had 42 million people. The Academy Awards had 41 million people. We were the second show to the Super Bowl. But since then, the Academy Awards have gone down to, I think they've gone down to numbers that are like a regular show because it went woke.
That was President Donald Trump, August 13th, 2025. President Trump mentioned the Academy Awards, and we will too, because the Academy Awards are rapidly approaching. Can't wait? Then let's do our own movie awards right now. But no Oscars here. In this podcast, for the first time in recorded audio history, we give out the Extreme Mortman Award, the ExMo, for greatest movie reference by a politician. And who best qualified to do the judging and awarding? You're right, it is Bob Cusack. Bob Cusack has covered policy and politics in Washington for 30 years. He's now executive editor of the Washington Examiner. He was editor of The Hill for over 21 years, and he's been on C-SPAN a staggering 218 times, going back to the last century, 1999. Yes, Bob Cusack is a true political junkie. But what makes Bob Cusack perfect for this podcast is that he's been in a movie. That's right, an actual movie. The innovative, groundbreaking, experimental film Wonder Woman 2. Or if you're a stickler for numbers, Wonder Woman 1984. Bob played a reporter. And he has other film credits. The Pelican Brief, he played a photographer. Clear and Present Danger, Bob was a diplomat. Guarding Tess, he was a medic. And you've seen him in Veep, and also a commercial for Dr. Pepper. Bob played a fan of the sugary carbonated soft drink. All the qualifications we need to cast him for this part. We'll play each clip, then Bob Cusack will offer a pithy, or if we're lucky, acerbic, or if we're even luckier still, trenchant, and maybe even caustic comment. And at the end, Bob will award his favorite movie reference by a politician, the ExMo. And we do it all from someplace far fancier than legendary Los Angeles. No Dolby Theater for this podcast, or even the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion. Bob Cusack walked the red carpet straight into the glass-enclosed nerve center of C-SPAN Radio in beautiful downtown Capitol Hill. Who will win the first ever ExMo? Put on your black tie or your glittery gown, get ready to have a good time, and stay tuned to this episode of C-SPAN's podcast, Extreme Mortman, with Bob Cusack for the thrilling and surprising and jaw-dropping answer. Bob, welcome to the Extreme Mortman podcast.
Howard, I am so happy to be here. The first ExMo. I mean, this is history in the making right here at C-SPAN. It's phenomenal.
All right, how does Bob Cusack, legendary Washington reporter, end up in famous movies and television shows?
Well, it's interesting. You can't get in Screen Actors Guild, it's a catch-22, unless you can't get a major role in a movie or a commercial unless you're in Screen Actors Guild. But how do you get in Screen Actors Guild? By getting a major role. So it's a bit of a catch-22. I was in a Pampers commercial when I was younger. My parents had a theater company in New York City, off Broadway. So I was in a lot of plays as a kid, and I went to auditions. And so that got me in SAG. And now I vote in the SAG Awards. Don't vote in the Oscars. But
nothing says diaper like the word SAG.
There you go. And so therefore, I've just kept up my dues, and so when I was struggling to get into journalism, I did a lot of extra work. And then when I got a real job in journalism, I said, well, if you have a speaking role, let me know. But you have to try out for them. And if you 1 in 100 succeed. So I was able to get speaking roles in both Veep and Wonder Woman 1984.
Now, are you actively looking for these gigs, or they just happen to you?
Well, sometimes you'll get an email saying, hey, you can send in your clip. Now, actually, you do it post-COVID. You send in your video. You actually don't have to go there. So actually, a few months ago, I auditioned for a movie in Baltimore. Haven't heard back, so probably didn't get that one.
Okay. And are you the only one in the family with a theatrical background?
My mom was in Screen Actors Guild. She passed away a few years ago. My dad, not in the guild, but he was an actor and both in New York and Connecticut. He's retired now, and my brother's dabbling a little bit.
Okay, I am a fan. I have to admit, I'm a fan of Wonder Woman 1984. It is the Mortman family go-to for all the special holidays.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We don't watch Die Hard. We watch Wonder Woman 1984. So anyways, I'm a huge fan. You played a reporter toward the beginning when they had a big assault scene.
Yeah, basically, I'm reporting on this mysterious woman who saved the day. And who is she? It was a very hot day that day. I had 4 people blowing cold air on me because it was 100 degrees. 2 people had to go to the medic. They changed my lines during the scene. I didn't have that many lines, but it was 3 paragraphs, so I needed
paragraphs. Give me the paragraphs.
Oh, I can't even remember now. But it was basically, who is this mysterious woman, and how did she save the day? Unfortunately, I didn't actually meet Gal Gadot. I saw her stunt double. But it was a bit of a stressful shoot because it was so hot. But we got it done.
Was her stunt double a nice person too?
She seemed very nice. Yes,
All right,
she
she's
seemed
very nice.
definitely athletic.
All right, one more question. And one more question before we get to the clips. You mentioned your family background. Now you're related to John Cusack.
I'm actually not. No relations to or his sister Joan.
Oh, you're not related to Joan Cusack
No,
either.
and I tell people that actually my
script
cousin,
now.
I think, used that as a pickup line in a bar that he was related to it, but he's not. And I always joke that if I were related to John Cusack, I would have had better roles than just these couple. So.
Here, I thought I was being clever, come up with that, and it's already been used. All right, well, let's just plow right through ahead. Let's get started.
All right.
And here are the nominees with Bob Cusack. First, Florida Republican Representative Aaron Bean, January 12th, 2026.
Madam Speaker, if there's one group of Americans who definitely shouldn't be receiving federal payments, it's the dearly departed. There's a famous line in the movie The Sixth Sense where the star says, "I see dead people." Our Treasury Department doesn't see dead people. They just write them checks.
Bob Cusack.
Listen, that's a pretty good line. Obviously, Sixth Sense is a great movie. The ending, which I had no idea it was coming, and that's why it was so effective. I give the congressman some points here. I think that was a funny line, and it fit with what he was talking about on the floor. We're going to hear some clips that weren't as good. I think that was pretty solid.
All right, pretty solid. So it's potentially in the running.
That's potentially.
All
First
right,
one,
that was a nice
Bean is in the
beginning.
running.
All right, Bean is in the running. All right. Our next nominee is also a Republican congressman from Texas, Chip Roy, June 6, 2025, the anniversary of D-Day.
And I hope the Senate will step up and make this bill better. If they leave it the same, like it's send it to the president's desk. They leave it basically the same and they send it back, I guess a lot of us will hold our nose again and say, well, I guess that's the best this Congress is capable of doing. It's like General Patton's quote in the movie. Well, what did you do during the great WW2? Well, you won't have to say you shoveled crap in Louisiana.
Bob Cusack.
Well, this is a good line. Obviously, a great movie, but at the same time, delivery a little weak there. So I would have to say, Congressman Roy not in the running. Good try though.
Good try. All right. So solid, good scripting, but bad performance.
There you go.
Okay.
You got to give it with authority.
Yeah, this is from an expert, Bob Cusack. All right. Now a Democrat in the House from Virginia, Congressman Suhas Subramaniam, June 25th, 2025.
I recently got a letter from a concerned young scout who is worried that the administration's tariffs will drive up the cost of his favorite toy, Legos. And as a dad, this hits home for me. My girls are Lego Disney princess fans. I've watched the movie about 10 times. And from Transformers to Lincoln Logs to Barbies, this administration's raising prices in our toy aisles with these tariffs.
Bob Cusack.
Well, listen, I have some sympathy. My kids are now older, but I watched a lot of Barney movies in my day to the point where I started to notice flaws in the film because my son was so addicted to Barney. Oh. So I do, and very impressive with the pronunciation of the congressman's name. I'm not even going to try. I think this is pretty solid. Is it in the running? I would say probably not, but a good try.
All right. Now, by the way, I just have to ask you, he mentioned the movie, the Lego movie you did. You weren't in the Lego movie, were you?
I was not. Yes. Unfortunately, I fell short of that.
All right. Now, Bob, let's move to the Senate and a Democrat from New Jersey, October 6, 2025, and I'll work on the pronunciation of this one. Here's Andy Kim.
Corruption, extortion, and intimidation through violence. This is how the Trump administration wants to use your government against you. Now, like every great mob movie, it's not just about the boss who plays a critical role. For every Don Corleone, there's a Tom Hagen and a Luca Brasi. Donald Trump plays the role of the mob boss, but it's his henchmen who are really running the show.
Bob Cusack.
Listen, this is timely because of Robert Duvall's death. And he was a star in that movie, both in 1 and 2, and reportedly he did not do number 3 because he didn't get enough money. So he said, "I'm not doing 3. 3, as you remember, not as good as 1 and 2." So I do like this one, especially because you're working in a mob angle on the floor of Congress. That's pretty impressive. So overall, pretty solid.
Nice. I'm a Godfather fan, so I'm glad you put it in there. You would never turn down a movie role because of money issues. Would
No.
you would,
I would do it for free.
You do it for fair enough. Yes. All right. Our next nominee, May 7th, 2025, in the Senate, Democrat from Massachusetts, Ed Markey.
I'm only here because it was books, and I could compete against any kid in Malden, Massachusetts, in a blue-collar community. That's why I'm a senator. I had never even been to Washington before I got elected to the United States House of Representatives. That was my first visit to Washington. I'm 29, 30 years old, but I've been competing because you give me the books, you give the kid whose father is the school superintendent, I'll compete against them. As a matter of fact, I actually sit here at the desk which Jimmy Stewart, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, had in the movie. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. He had never been to Washington. I had never been to Washington.
Bob Cusack.
Yeah, this podcast is educational because I did not know this fact that he didn't come to Washington until he was elected. And little known fact, Senator Markey came to Washington in 1839. Actually, no, Senator, I'm just kidding. But listen, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington is a classic, and if people haven't seen it, the younger audience, it is a classic movie. So I give Senator Markey props for really mentioning one of the best, I think, Washington movies.
I was going to ask you that as somebody who's a veteran of the scene, and you've been around for many years doing this. Are you tired of Mr. Smith references, or do you never tire of Mr. Smith references?
No, not this one. There are others we'll get to that I'm a little tired of, so that'll be a little teaser.
All right, our next nominee from June 28th, 2025, here's Democratic Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar.
The bill passed by the House would add $3.4 trillion, as I noticed, to the national debt, and this Senate bill is now up to $4 trillion. And it uses this funky budgeting, which, let me just explain it an easy way. It's called baseline budgeting. Everyone that looks at this from the outside says, this is a $4 trillion debt adder. But they use something where they say, okay, let's say, the Washington Post did this today. You go to a movie and you buy a movie ticket. Let's say it's $10. Then you get some pop. Then you do that 1 week. And then, because you want to see that F1 movie, the new movie, then 2 weeks later, you go and you want to see it again, but you get some popcorn for $5, small popcorn for $5. Okay, instead of saying you're paying your $10 for the ticket and your $5 for the popcorn, they say, oh, it's only $5, because that's how much it went up over the last few weeks. That's the funky budgeting.
Okay, Bob Cusack, the F1 movie reference.
Yeah, I have not seen F1. Okay. I've seen most of the movies on this list, but not that one, so I can't comment on that. And the senator bringing in the CBO baseline to comparing it to movies that's quite impressive. I can't remember the last time I paid $10 to see a movie, but listen, I think that was creative, a little wonky. But listen, we're political junkies. We like that wonkiness.
We like that. When you go to the movies, Bob, popcorn for you?
Well, I try to limit it because I'm very cheap. So I try to get the kids to say, just get the small if you don't get anything.
Oh, that's great. No, that's perfect. Because when I go to the movies, I rarely do, but I bring my own buckets and cups, and I just fill it up at their dispensers.
That's smart. That's smart.
And napkins. I walk away with lots of napkins.
Lots
of napkins.
Got to get the bang for the buck.
I bang for the buck for the movie. All right. Senator Klobuchar, Bob, actually has a second nomination. The next one is from a few months later, October 21st, 2025.
So while all that is going on, the president goes to his go-to, and his go-to is messing around with the justice system. He literally pardoned someone, as in George Santos, who claimed to be, a world-class volleyball player, producer of the Spider-Man movie, and was actually simply a fraudster that the entire Republican leadership in the House of Representatives booted out of the House of Representatives.
All right, Bob.
Santos and Spider-Man in the same clip on the Senate floor. That is pretty good. So definitely the senator and her staff deserve some plaudits. Of course, I would have preferred another superhero other than Spider-Man. But,
thank you.
But
thank you.
But maybe she'll get the hint. She'll listen to this and she'll do it.
I thank you for that. And you're totally right. It should be, if you're going to make a superhero reference, Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman only.
Exactly.
Should
Please,
be the rule.
come on.
Please. And I probably have forgotten all my George Santos history, but I didn't know he claimed to be a producer of the Spider-Man movie.
That was news to me. I mean, maybe I forget it, but like he claimed to be so many things.
Yeah.
And honestly, on a serious note, how did the media fell down on George Santos? We didn't look into his background because he said all these things that were crazy. The world-class volleyball player, I kind of remember that, but the Spider-Man thing, no.
No, I don't remember that at all. All right. Here's another senator with more than one nomination, a Republican from Louisiana, John Kennedy, September 3rd, 2025.
Mr. President, this is a photograph of the alien from the movie Alien. This is what you could end up looking like if you eat some of the raw, frozen shrimp being sent to the United States by other countries.
Well, Senator Kennedy, I mean, he's always entertaining. At the same time, what if kids were watching? They would think that I'm going to turn into this alien just by and this got a lot of news attention. I looked it up, and he said this is radioactive shrimp. But but he deserves a lot of credit here because he had a chart on the Senate floor of the alien, and that is a big one. This Howard is in contention for the winner.
All right, I'm putting
this is in contention. There are a lot of contenders, but this is a possibility.
By the way, I'm so glad you remember the chart because I was expecting the next chart would be Sigourney Weaver, but that didn't get my wish. So, all right, and here's Senator Kennedy again, September 30th, 2025.
So how is my friend Senator Zimmer going to get government back open? There's a famous movie line. I don't remember the movie. I think Denzel Washington said the line. I love Denzel Washington. He's what cool looks like. The guy's awesome. He's a total baller, man. I love Denzel Washington. But anyway, I think he said in one movie, if you pray for rain, you better be prepared to deal with the mud. And truer words were never spoken.
Okay, well, I'm going to help the senator out here. I looked up the movie. It's called The Equalizer, again, which I have not seen. Now, Denzel, we don't know where he stood. I looked this up on the 2024 election, but he was a backer of Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. So Kennedy and Denzel, he may think he's cool, but he's certainly not a hardcore Republican. Listen, I think that's a very good line, and I like how Senator Kennedy is a big movie fan, as we continue to see.
All right, so he thinks Denzel Washington is cool. He's a senator. You're a fellow actor. When you see him, does he ever hang out at the commissary with you, Bob? And you say, "There's a cool actor."
Not yet. Yeah, but we're going to work on that.
We're going to work on that. All right. And do you think he's a cool actor too?
I do. I'm a big fan of Denzel.
Okay. All right. Let's play one more clip, Bob, from Senator Kennedy.
I did work with him in Pelican Brief.
Oh, let's do the story.
Right.
Let's do that story. Go ahead.
Yeah, I played 3 different roles in Pelican Brief. Obviously, 3 extra roles. So, and you can kind of see me in 2 of the 3 off to the side of the camera. One, I'm a reporter. One, I'm just in the crowd. I think one, I'm a photographer. And I remember telling the casting agent, I've already been in it. And they're like, don't worry, you probably aren't seen anyway. But you can actually see me in 2 of those 3 roles in Pelican Brief, which is a great book. I thought the movie was okay, but not as good as the book.
Well, this opens 15 minutes of questions for me to you, so stand by. The 3 different parts. They didn't all run. 2 ran, you said?
Yeah, you can see me barely.
All right. How do you get paid off of that? Do you get paid 3 different times?
No. Well, you do get 3 because you're working 3 different days. Now, the difference here is when you have a speaking role like I had in Veep and Wonder Woman 1984, if you have a speaking role, you get royalties. Now, Howard, though, if they cut the scene, then you don't get any royalties and you don't get a credit at the end. And when people would ask me about Wonder Woman 1984, which, by the way, was delayed for over 2 years because of COVID and eventually showed on Christmas Day, which, of course, I watched it with my family years ago, my friends were asking, "Did you make it?" I'm like, "I don't know. They didn't tell me. They don't care about me. I've got a few lines in this." So, watching it, I wasn't sure if I was going to make it or end up on the cutting room floor.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
and that happens with all the movies that you don't know. It's
Yeah, yes, and now in Veep, I kind of knew because I played a pro-life lobbyist. I knew that they couldn't cut me out entirely, and they actually had to bring me back for a scene, and it was actually during a real government shutdown. So I'm on this fictional Veep show, and the characters, the actors, are asking me, "What's John Boehner thinking about this shutdown?" And so it was very surreal.
Oh my goodness! All right, I have to ask a question because this is my C-SPAN training. We always want to know about the money and where people getting paid and all that.
Yeah.
Do you still get residual checks from any of this?
Yes,
stuff?
literally, I got a check a couple days ago from Veep. Now, the Veep was a while back. Wonder Woman 1984 was more recent. It was for 25 cents.
25
Now,
cents.
at first, the royalty checks are in the hundreds of dollars, so they're nice, but they end up dwindling.
And how do you even earn that 25 cents? Like how
I don't even know because they say it's different if it goes to DVD, if it goes international, and they send me the receipt. I can't. It's kind of like your medical bills. You can't make. I'm just like, all right, I'll cash this check. Yeah. One time, I literally was supposed to get paid 90 cents. They made a mistake. I still have the check. The check says $0.00. So Howard, I'm paying taxes on that 90 cents. What am I going to call them and say, hey, you messed up? Give me 90 cents.
Let's play one more clip from Senator Kennedy. It's from December 20th, 2024. Yes, outside our date range to be eligible for an ExMo, but still worth hearing because it's another movie whose name he can't quite place.
Let me just say, I love Cher. I mean, I just remember Sonny and Cher when they were both on TV. Sonny was a congressman for a while. But I think Cher is what cool looks like. I don't agree with much of her politics, but Cher is equal in her coolness only by Nick Cage. I love Nick Cage. I just saw a movie that he did not long ago. I can't remember the name of it, but he was typically in his movies he plays these deeply weird characters, you know, and he was a truffles hunter, and he had a pig, a special pig that would hunt for truffles, and the bad guys hurt his pig. Well, Nick hurt them. I think he ended up killing them, but before he killed them, he hurt them the entire time they were dying. I mean, it was a great movie. I love Nicolas Cage, and I appreciate Rand reminding me of it. I might go home tonight and watch a Nick Cage movie.
Well, I did also was in a scene with Nick Cage in Guarding Tess.
You're the perfect guest. Keep going.
And
this is great.
this was a scene toward the end of the movie, and it was a tough shoot because it was done in the middle of the night. It was very cold on a farm, and basically, I'm one of the 4 medics who are saving Shirley MacLaine, who is Nick Cage, plays a Secret Service agent, and she's the First Lady, as I remember it. Anyway, it's a decent movie. Check it out if you haven't. And she's buried alive. So now we're taking Shirley MacLaine, who is a body double, and then we're putting her into a helicopter because she's injured. And then the helicopter takes off. And let me just tell you, Howard, at 3 a.m. when the helicopter takes off, and this was done in like the spring, it is freezing. So, but going back to Senator Kennedy, and you can barely see me in that. I thought for sure you're going to see me, but you can barely see me.
Okay, you have to pause there. All right, first, this is like the 6 degrees of Bob Cusack here today.
Yes.
It wasn't Shirley MacLaine. It was a body double.
It was a body double. Yes.
Did you still ask the body double for an autograph?
I should have. But Nick Cage seemed, he kept to himself for the most part, but seemed like a nice guy. But it was a bit of a stressful shoot because it was just so cold and wet. But it's interesting. The movie he mentions here, which is about a pig, and Senator Kennedy, I'm going to help you on the name of it. It's called Pig. So now I have not seen this movie,
that's a high
but
degree of
based upon
difficulty.
his recommendation, I think I'm going to check out this movie. It seems pretty good.
And the movie is called Pig, and the senator is called Senator Kennedy. So he says in our earlier clip. The one which is not going to the next round, the Equalizer one. He says Denzel Washington is what cool looks like. Here he says Cher is what cool looks like, and and we're assuming he's also saying Nick Cage is what cool looks like. It's okay for 3 people to look like cool, right?
I guess so. I mean, Senator Kennedy is a big fan of movies. That's for sure.
Yeah. All right. And it just goes without saying, but I'll say it regardless. Bob Cusack is what I think cool looks like. I just want that on the record. I'm not afraid to say
My
that,
kids
but
don't say that.
Don't say that. All right. All right. One more senator with multiple nominations, Ted Cruz. Here's the Texas Republican on September 26, 2025, talking tech with Politico.
I said, if I'm going to give you exceptions, instead of 600 megahertz, I want 800 megahertz. And I got to say, we walked out of the deal with 800 megahertz, and everyone went, where the hell did that come from? And the honest answer, I'd like to say I had scientists studying the optimal amount of spectrum to allocate, and it was a careful technical assessment. That ain't true at all. I just made up the number. It really was the Spinal Tap principle. If any of y'all remember the movie Spinal Tap, and their amplifier, instead of going to 10, ours goes to 11. There's 800 megahertz because 800 is bigger than 6.
Listen, I saw Spinal Tap, but what hurts Cruz's nomination here is I had to look up this reference. If you have to look it up, it kind of hurts it. Now
You had to look up the goes to 11 reference?
I did.
Bob?
I haven't seen it. Like some people I know have seen that 25 times.
Oh, I thought
that
this was the easiest one.
But
All right.
yeah, no, but then I looked it up, and it is a funny line. But the fact I had to Google it is it does hurt him a bit, but. And also want to give a shout out to obviously Rob Reiner, the tragic death, directed it. This is a classic movie. If you have not seen Spinal Tap 1, see it. And actually, Spinal Tap 2 is not. It got bad reviews. It's not. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Bob, I totally agree with you. Spinal Tap 2 made me laugh, and I was not expecting to. I wanted to see it.
I had low expectations.
I had low expectations.
It surprised me.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. Okay. And Senator Cruz opening a hearing December 3rd, 2025.
Good morning. Senate Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation will come to order. Today we will consider the nominations of Jared Isaacman to serve as Administrator of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, which I have to say for a moment feels a bit like Groundhog Day, and also Stephen Haynes to serve as an Assistant Secretary of Commerce.
Groundhog Day, Bob, take it away.
Yeah. This is the one I've gotten a little tired of. Just it does apply, and I know we're going to hear it a couple more times, and it's a good reference, but he didn't get many laughs in that one, so have to pass on that.
Perfect. We're going to plow ahead with 17 more Groundhog Day references. Senator Cruz is the only nominee with a Groundhog Day reference. From November 12th, 2025, here's White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
The Democrats may have permanently damaged the federal statistical system with October CPI and jobs reports likely never being released. And all of that economic data released will be permanently impaired, leaving our policymakers at the Fed flying blind at a critical period. It's hard to recap all of this without asking a simple question: why? Why have the Democrats put the American people through this pain for 43 days in a row? And it feels like Groundhog Day being up here again talking about this Democrat shutdown.
Did this one work any better?
I think it works a little better.
Okay.
And to be fair, I said this a lot during that shutdown because it was just the same over and over again. Caroline Leavitt is I don't know how old she was when Groundhog Day came out. But I do appreciate that the younger generation, and she's definitely part of that, is recognizing the great movies of the past.
All right, do I put a check on this one? Am I cheat sheet?
I would put a check
All right,
on it.
I'm putting
A soft
check.
check.
A soft check when we come back. All right, one more Groundhog Day reference, January 22nd, 2026. Speaking at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, here is President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky.
Dear friends, everyone remembers the great American film Groundhog Day with Bill Murray and Andy McDowell. Yes, but no one would want to live like that, repeating the same thing for weeks, months, and of course for years. And yet, that's exactly how we live now. And it's our life. And every forum like this one proves it.
You got to give him credit for the pronunciation of Groundhog Day. That is one of the most unique ones. And listen, I only speak one language, so I'm not making fun of him because I think it's very impressive that when people know multiple languages, like Melania Trump knows, I think, a handful of languages. But a go-to one, it's a very Americana movie, so I see why he references it. But I would say he's not in the strongest of the Groundhog Day trio.
I totally agree. The one thing I'll give him credit for is including Andy McDowell, because of all the politicians who mentioned Groundhog Day, Andy McDowell never gets her due in all these references. So.
Yes, and she's and still acting now.
Still acting now. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So no check, but we praise him.
Decent.
All right.
Yeah.
The World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, actually supplies us a second nominee. Also on January 22nd, 2026, here's Elon Musk.
Essentially, how do we give everyone a very high standard of living? I think the only way to do this is AI and robotics, which doesn't mean that it is without its issues. I mean, we need to be very careful with AI. We need to be very careful with robotics. We don't want to find ourselves in a James Cameron movie. Terminator. he's great movies, love his movies, but we don't want to be in Terminator, obviously.
A timely reference, because obviously everyone's talking about AI now. This is kind of like a nomination where it's that weird foreign movie like Musk is, and you never know what he's going to say, so you're listening to him. And I give him about a B on this, but. Because everyone loves the Terminator and Terminator 2 and Schwarzenegger. And, of course, every James Cameron movie is entertaining.
And you're right, the Skynet references now are quite abundant. So
Indeed,
it's timely.
absolutely.
All right. Now, potential Democratic presidential candidate Rahm Emanuel, January 21st, 2026, the Christian Science Monitor breakfast.
And at the very time, I never thought the president would do this, but he did it. The very time that he's talking about his wonderful ballroom and his little Great Gatsby party at Mar-a-Lago, he's at the Supreme Court arguing to cut off food assistance to poor people.
Well, yeah, and I do think Rahm is going to run for president. He's certainly doing the media tour here. This is pretty good. A little dated. A lot of people are not going to get it. And then, of course, some people will say, well, maybe Rahm Emanuel's a little dated. But listen, I give Rahm a lot of credit. We've interviewed him at the Examiner, and unlike other Democratic candidates, he's not afraid of the media. Do I think he's going to win this award? I don't, but I wish him luck in the presidential race.
Solid. Perfect. All right. Rahm Emanuel was mayor of Chicago. Here's another big city mayor, the current mayor of New York City, Zohran Mamdani, January 24th, 2026. A huge snowstorm was approaching.
On Sunday and Monday, a hazardous travel advisory will be in effect. Please, if you can avoid it, do not drive, do not travel, do not do anything that could potentially place you or your loved ones in danger. Instead, I urge every New Yorker who can to put a warm sweater on, turn on the TV, watch Mission Impossible for the 10th time. Above all, to stay inside.
Well, Mamdani, obviously the new mayor, and good attempt there. Listen, I'm a big fan of Tom Cruise. I work with him on Minority Report.
Oh, let's do this one. Do the story.
And he and I were texting this morning. No, I'm just kidding. But he knew everybody. He knew every name of the crew, which was very impressive. And he looked taller than I thought, so maybe he was wearing lifts that day. But you can't see me in that movie, but I am in a scene that was filmed in Washington, D.C. So now, as far as Mission Impossible, I am a big fan. But for the 10th time, I think that might be a little bit too much. Once or twice is good enough. I think 10 times is you get the feeling. And then there are a lot of sequels too, so you can watch them.
I was going to ask you that. Do you think he had a particular of the 6 or 7? Do you think he had a particular one in mind?
I think the most recent one, which I think actually started out strong, but I didn't love the ending. So, but it was an entertaining movie. I watched it on a plane.
So before we go to the next clip, I didn't realize in my research on Bob Cusack that you did a movie, a Minority Report with Tom Cruise. Now, Tom Cruise, legendary for doing his own stunts.
Yes.
Bob Cusack, do you do your own stunts?
Not yet, but I'm ready to do it. I don't know if my knees are going to be ready, but but it is. We've seen all the clips of Tom Cruise, who somehow just does not age, and but what he does is insane. Honestly.
Would you hang from an airplane?
No chance would I do that in a million years.
Okay.
Unless you're going to give me $1 million.
Yeah, is that right? How about this? Would you take the metro across town?
Actually, I just came for the metro.
So
I was a daredevil then.
Daredevil.
Yes.
All right. We have 2 more nominations to go, both with Superman references. The first is also from January 22nd, 2026, a big day for movie references by politicians. This time, delivering his State of the State address, here's the Democratic governor of Delaware, Matt Meyer.
The new Superman movie is literally set in Delaware. They should be shooting here. Hey, Aubrey Plaza, how about White Lotus Rehoboth? But seriously, we're just going to let so many other neighboring states soak up all that Hollywood money? I may look more like Clark Kent than Superman, but not on my watch.
Howard, this is a strong contender. I mean, the White Lotus Rehoboth line, I'm a big fan of White Lotus, seen all the seasons, and if they're listening on his hasn't seen them, I think the first season was the best, but they're all good. But I like that, and he touches on an important topic, because Veep actually was filmed in Maryland until the tax credits expired, and then they moved out of Maryland. So, but I love the White Lotus Rehoboth line, and so Meyer is in contention.
That's interesting. And Selena Meyer was the
Yes,
president in Veep.
that's right.
That's why you're a little biased in this.
Yes,
that's true. From my knowledge of Veep, all the capital scenes were all filmed in Baltimore.
Yes, a lot of them, but the scene that I was in was filmed on a set in Columbia, Maryland. And speaking of getting cut, I had a one-on-one scene with Julia Louis-Dreyfus, because it's season 3 called The Choice, either episode 2 or 3, and without spoiling it, I'm trying to get into a meeting with Selena, and there's a pro-choice lobbyist also trying to get into a meeting, and without spoiling it, I do win, and I get the meeting with her one-on-one, and we ad-lib, because the show really liked ad-libbing, and it was about politics, Howard, so it wasn't that hard for me, and I thought it was a great scene, and she and I had a high-five at the end of the scene, and guess what? They cut it.
Oh, no!
Yeah.
Oh, no!
Yeah, too bad.
Oh, well, thank you for not spoiling a show that aired 12 years ago. I appreciate that. All right. And our final nominee for the coveted ExMo, also with a Superman reference, from January 8th, 2026. Speaking with reporters at the White House, here's the Vice President of the United States of America, J.D. Vance.
Look, I think Tim Walz should resign, because it's very clear either that he knew about the fraud in Minneapolis, he knew about the welfare fraud, or at the very least he looked the other way. I mean, this is not this is not like Lex Luthor, right? This is not movie villain fraud. This is the lowest IQ possible fraud.
Listen, the vice president here, I give him props. Speaking of ad-libs, it seemed like, watching that clip a couple times, that he ad-libbed that. And you deserve some credit for ad-libbing that. So that I give him credit for. At the same time, do I think he's going to be in the top 5? I don't see it.
That's a wonderful point. The ad-libbing gets credit. Love
Yes.
it. All right. And now Bob Cusack awards the ExMo. But first, a bonus clip. This one isn't eligible to win. It's earlier than the past year, but we still want to play it for Bob. April 9th, 2019, a hearing on the international financial system. The witness, Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin. Here's ranking member of the House Financial Services Committee, Republican from North Carolina, Patrick McHenry.
Well, Secretary Mnuchin, I don't have any questions about your executive producer credentials, but I think you did well with American Sniper, Sully, the Lego Movie, and most recently Wonder Woman. Congratulations to you at your box office success. Actually, I thought it was much funnier, but the crowd apparently didn't.
Howard, this reminds me, and I did try this 3 times, of my short-lived stand-up career. I did amateur night 3 times, and realized that was not in my future. Now, I actually interviewed Mnuchin several times in the Trump first administration. Now, I'm pretty sure that credit is for the first Wonder Woman movie, which is a very strong movie, I would say. Even though I am biased, I would say that first one's better than the one I'm in. But that McHenry line. But I do give credit to lawmakers that when they try something funny, then they mock themselves.
Yeah.
So that's good. I know this is not eligible, but that's a funny line.
I appreciate you
In
abiding by the rules in some
Yes.
ways. So he was not your boss on the second Superman, the second Wonder Woman movie.
No, he was
Okay.
not. No, I did
All
not
right.
see him on the set.
Did not see him on the set. American Sniper and Sully, and we already talked about the Lego Movie. All solid. So, the Lego Movie in particular was an American classic. So,
Yes.
All right. We are going now. I'm getting my notes. We're going to now have Bob Cusack award the ExMo Awards. I'm flipping through my notes, and here is what I have checks for, and see if they match your notes.
Okay.
Hold on. All right. I see checks for the following, and let's talk about them one more time. Actually, you lead the discussion because I'm
okay.
terribly
So
behind
we
here.
definitely have Senator Kennedy with the Alien movie.
Yeah.
We have Meyer from Delaware.
Yes.
That is in contention.
Yes.
And the first one, Congressman Bean, a very strong line on Social Security. I might have missed one or two of them, and we've got to get the envelope ready. But there could be a surprise. Everyone has to stay tuned of who's going to actually win this award, and of course I'm sure there'll be a big ceremony.
And should we even do a cliffhanger and not award it, or should we just go ahead and just?
I think let's just go do it.
All right. Bob Cusack now presents the first ever historic ExMo award. Goes to
it goes to Senator Kennedy for his speech on Alien, which he had the chart at, and it also, Howard, remember, Barack Obama, former president, said aliens do exist, so it makes sense. Alien is a very good movie. There are like 10 of them, honestly. I looked at this, I thought there were like 4 of them. So the ones I've seen are pretty good. Sigourney Weaver, another person that I had a scene with in the movie Dave with Kevin Kline in Georgetown, and that you can see like you can see like my ear. And it's a funny scene in where they're stopped by the cops, and Kevin Kline is portraying the president because he looks exactly like him, and the cops stop him, and they think, oh my God, this is the president, but then they say, no, I'm not the president, we're lookalikes, and then they sing a song, and everyone in Georgetown, as they're singing the song, is now watching them. And then the cops are like, okay, well, I'm going to let you go. You're not the president, clearly. So, but he is the president. Dave is a very good movie if you haven't seen it.
So I was going to end the podcast by asking you to plug the Washington Examiner and tell us what you do. But also, I'm going to have you do that. And how do you read? How do people get the Washington Examiner? But also plug any upcoming movies or TV or
not
anything.
yet, but I'm waiting. And when I landed speaking roles, people did ask me, okay, are you going to go out to Hollywood? And I said, no, I'm going to keep my day job. I do dabble in screenwriting. I've written a couple scripts, and it's a very flaky world. And as you know, a lot of movies aren't getting made now. It's more TV shows. It's like White Lotus. It's Netflix specials. So, but I kind of like to have a creative writing angle to what I do as my day job.
And tell us about your day job.
Yes, executive editor of the Washington Examiner, as you mentioned. I was at the Hill for a long time, and basically we're writing about the State of the Union. We're writing about everything in policy and politics. Similar to the Wall Street Journal, conservative opinion, straight news. So it's been fun. I've really missed it. I was out of the game for a year. I really missed big news events and working with reporters and the staff at the Examiner. Great people rowing in the same direction. We're scrappy, and if you can check us out at thewashingtonexaminer.com. If you're in the DMV, it's free. But if not, you need to subscribe, but it's not that much money. So I encourage our listeners your listeners to check us out.
Perfect. And one last question before we get to our closing music, and we're going to thank you, Bob, enormously for joining us. You've been on C-SPAN many, many times.
I didn't think I was on that much.
Yeah, well, many, many times. Do you still get residual checks from us from your earliest appearances?
Not quite. I'm still waiting for those,
It's
Howard.
probably the 25-cent variety.
Yeah, maybe
right?
I'll talk to Sam about that.
Yeah, talk to Sam. All right. Thank you, Bob Cusack, for joining us.
Thank you.
Now for our closing music, courtesy of Curtis Sliwa. In 2025, Curtis Sliwa ran for mayor of New York City. We'll play the song he used for campaign rallies. It was nominated for the 1982 Academy Award for Best Original Song from the innovative, groundbreaking experimental film Rocky III. From November 1st, 2025, introducing Curtis Sliwa, here's the legendary rock group Survivor, asking the timeless musical question, Eye of the Tiger.
Thank you. Thank you. They tried to stack the deck against us today, didn't they? Electrical pole falls down 8:30 in the morning.